Hey guys, it's Coach BJ with the second installment of Aero as. Today we're going to be looking at two different hand positions. Before you do anything, hit like, hit subscribe so that you can stay up to date on all the new videos coming out, all the new content. We've got some sprint stuff coming out and of course more aero testing. The two hand positions we're looking at today is on the hoods, which you can see right now is what I'm doing. Hands on the hoods versus hands sphinx position. So actually not even hands, arms. There's a couple ways to do sphinx. You can do forearms flat on the tops of the bars with your hands on the hoods, or you can dangle your hands a little bit more like a aero bar TT position. That's what I did. I did the dangly hand position. Let's watch the ride. Take a look at your data. Your CDA real time is that gauge. The bar at the bottom is just tracking the whole ride for CDA. Take a look at the ride and we'll talk about the data after.
Crazy done my best and my worst, learned my lessons. No matter how hard my life would treat me, I'd always get right back up, never worry. 'Cause I got a million reasons to keep holding on. Yeah, I got all that it takes to win and overcome. What I got is just a feeling, but it's oh so strong. It goes on and on, on and on. There's something going on inside of me. I feel it growing stronger every beat. I never just believe in what I see, 'cause I can feel the energy, energy. 'Cause I can feel the energy, energy. I've met my demons one too many times. They taught me lows are what makes you.
All right, so that was the ride. You can see that there was a pretty big difference on that CDA data with the hands on the tops versus the hands in Sphinx position. Let's take a look at what the CDA data has for us. All right, so averaging it all out together, we're looking at almost a 0.1 difference. That's a huge difference. So 0.374 on the hoods, 0.285 in the Sphinx. So when we do this, you notice I did a bunch of different passes. I did some shorter runs, some longer runs. You might not have noticed that. Just to get a couple different, data points to average. The Sphinx position came in super consistent. I basically didn't even need to average it. They were all right on the money, about 2.85, 2.84. 0.285, 0.284, all super consistent. The hoods were a little bit more volatile, and that probably has to do with it's a less consistent position. Maybe the arms are a little more or less bent versus each run, but the Sphinx position is super consistent, and the data was super clean. For the hoods, even though it was a little inconsistent run to run, when you average it all together, 0.374 is right on the money with other times I've tested the hoods, so it's right in there. It's very believable that it would be spot on. Air density was 1.22. Not a big deal. You guys don't really need to worry about that too much. It's just something I factor into all the calculations to make sure that comparing day to day, the data kind of works out so it's comparable. So let's take a look at times. The gold standard times, or what I've determined is the gold standard, 1K, 4K, 20K. So at 1K, 1 kilometer, at 250 watts, let me back up, disclaimer, everything's done at 250 watts. It's just super consistent for me. It's a speed that I can hold with no trouble. It's a speed that I can make sure that it's super smooth and consistent, and it's hard enough, or it's enough power that it puts me over 20 miles an hour. So it's a good testing range because it's going to be relatable to the type of speeds that you're going to be doing in your group rides and in your races. So 20 plus miles an hour. Okay, 250 watts, 1K time trial. I'd be doing a minute 42 on the hoods or a minute 34 in the Sphinx position. That's a difference of, let's round it up to 10 seconds. That's a difference of 10 seconds, a sixth of a minute. This is a huge difference. On the track, the 1 kilometer time trial, let's just say it takes around a minute. A difference of 10 seconds is astronomical. Of course, at 250 watts, this is taking us longer than a minute, but 8 to 10 seconds is out of this world. 4K, that's your individual pursuit or even your team pursuit distance on the track. The women or the masters, they do sometimes 2K, 3K, but for the elite men, 4K at 250 watts, we're looking at a difference of half a minute, 30 seconds, even more, actually 33 seconds. So we're looking at 30 seconds difference, 651 versus 618, hoods versus the Sphinx. This is astronomical. You're saving half a minute over 4K. So that can really relate to a breakaway or trying to pull your teammates. You're off the front, you're on the front. That 4K is something that's going to be applicable to your racing, and it's a relatively short period of time. On the longer scale, we're going 20K at 250 watts, about a half hour effort. We're looking at a difference of 2 minutes and 48 seconds. That's almost 3 minutes. 3 minutes difference over half an hour. That's, again, this is out of this world. If you haven't already watched the first episode where we did hands in the drops, straight versus bent, go watch that and see how much smaller that difference is versus 3 minutes here doing a 20K at 250 watts. So this is my disclaimer. We can see how much faster that Sphinx is. It doesn't mean that it's safe. It doesn't mean that it's a great idea for you. What we don't want to do is be riding in the Sphinx, especially with our hands dangling, with potholes, with bad quality road, with trying to go through turns like that, being in the middle of the peloton like that, or the middle of your group ride. Don't show up to your group ride doing hands off the bar Sphinx in the middle of your pace line or the middle of your group. It's dangerous. Do not tell anyone I told you to do this. When you crash them all out, don't say Coach BJ told me he was faster, so I'm doing it. There's a time and a place for everything. This would be great for solo breakaway, maybe pulling at the front of the peloton, maybe pulling at the front of your group ride if you really want to. If you guys are pushing for time, I don't know why you would be, but why you would need to be in Sphinx. But there are a time and a place for this. Bridging a gap solo. There are times and places for this, and it's not just your friendly group ride or in the middle of a bumping race where you're gonna get jostled. Okay, cool. So let's move on. Here we have the watts, the differences in watts. We're looking at a difference of, let's say, at 15 miles an hour. So relatively slow on the slower scale of things. 15 miles an hour, it's a difference of 16 watts. Not a big deal. It's not going to make this 15 miles an hour feel that much harder or easier. When we go up to 20 miles an hour, we have a difference. We have a delta of 40 watts. 40 watts, it's pretty significant. It can be the difference of being over threshold and under threshold. So 40 watts is going to be significant enough that you might notice it. Still not the end of the world. Just 5 miles an hour faster, just up to 25 miles an hour, we have a difference of 80 watts. You'll notice the big jump. So I'm going from 197 watts, 20 miles an hour, to 360 watts, 25 miles an hour. So we're really upping that effort, right? Difference of 80 watts, 286 to 362. Almost 100 watt difference. This is a big difference. The difference between 300 and 400 is, you're going to feel it, and it's going to bury you if you have to sustain that. These are sustained efforts, mind you. These are not just hit 362 for a little bit and then come back down. You know, if you're hitting these speeds, it's going to be sustained and it's going to be in the middle of a race. So that 80 to 100 watts is going to kill you. That, again, don't go Sphinx just because you don't want to do that extra 100 watts. There are other ways to save wattage other than going Sphinx in the middle of a race where it could be dangerous. But if it's safe, it's a great choice. We go up to 30 miles an hour. This might be you bridging a gap. This might be a really strong breakaway. 30 miles an hour, we're looking at a difference of 600 watts and 470 watts. So a difference of 130 watts. Again, guys, this is huge. This is a big difference in those watts. Go take a look at that first episode again and see how much smaller that difference is. This is a really big difference. And that's what I got for you guys today. Hopefully, we saw just how big of a difference it is between the Sphinx and the hoods. Before you leave, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. If you have any requests, any questions, pop it in the comments. Tell me what positions you want to see tested, what equipment you want to see tested, anything. Pop it in the comments. Give me some ideas for testing. There's plenty of new content coming out. I'm testing all the time. And so we'll roll it out every week or every 2 weeks. We also have sprint content coming out, just short sprint videos, but it's going to turn into a sprint academy eventually. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, guys, get smart, be strong, go fast.